Hey everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here, another edition of Off the Top Rope. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to everybody who joined on the Revolution post show. A lot of great interaction there. So apologies for the internet connection, uh, some technical issues, but we made it through. And here we are. Thursday is usually a reaction day, a lot of AEW content, and typically a lot of interaction because it comes from people who agree with me and a lot of people who don't agree with me. But here's some conversation for you guys to talk about because let's just analyze the situation here in terms of we're going into WrestleMania season. We're about what 5-6 weeks out, and AEW's got their first pay-per-view of the year in Revolution coming up on Sunday night here in Los Angeles. This is right around it's right in the same area in the same vicinity of where I live and my home. So and it's a great wrestling community out here. We had a WrestleMania out here about 2 years ago. Um, so just thinking about this in terms of big picture for both companies, in terms of WWE and AEW, um, we see what has transpired in WWE over the last, I'd say about 4, 5, 6 weeks, maybe, where there have been three truly shocking and really jarring moments that have happened on the road to WrestleMania already. And some people were calling it a lame build because it was really tame until it kicked into another gear at Elimination Chamber last week. But we had Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. And if you told me honestly, outside of my buddy Mav, that you thought that Jey Uso was going to win the Royal Rumble, you're crazy. Mav was the only one on that train, and I give Mav a ton of credit. Mav, if you're watching this, I appreciate you, man. You're one of the good ones out here in the community, and a proud member of the Down for the Count family, the Down for the Count Army. So Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble over John Cena, which was a shocker because it was either Cena. Everybody was saying it was Cena or Punk, really, that we're going to win that. So then we get to Elimination Chamber, and John Cena turns heel. The unthinkable happens. And John Cena unleashes a vicious attack, almost 22 years fully as a babyface. The company man in his last year turns heel. And then on Monday night, Rhea Ripley, defending her championship against Io Sky, loses clean as a sheet. Yes, it was a little bit of a distraction, but it was relatively clean. And Rhea Ripley loses on the road to WrestleMania, and it seems like, at least they're presenting it, Bianca Belair is facing Io Sky, which I don't think will end up being the thing that happens in this situation, but that's the way we're looking right now. So you've had three really shocking, nobody could see it coming, and you also had the TNA partnership that has come about in the last year or so in NXT. A lot of unexpected things have happened on WWE television. And what was the biggest complaint from WWE fans under Vince McMahon? It got dull. It was really only for one audience. It basically, there's no surprises. There's no originality. There's no creativity. There's no real excitement going into these. Yes, one thing you can criticize Triple H for on the road to WrestleMania is, yes, this build really felt dull until about Elimination Chamber. But there were some shocking things that have happened in WWE. It's just it was mixed in with a bunch of meh. But that's what we hated about Vince McMahon's WWE before he ultimately was thrusted and thrown out of the company when he retired. And I was thinking about this in watching the Road to Revolution and watching this Dynamite show last night. And I'm just like, God, aside from the big difference is obviously there's better wrestling, but there's no creativity, there's no originality, there's no excitement, there's no real like shocking results. And, Ricochet pinning Swerve is fine, I guess, but it's not a shocking result. Ricochet isn't going to win on Sunday. So I guess they felt they needed to give him another win, but still, like this, to me, AEW has become everything that we hated about WWE. It's for one man, basically. It's just a bunch of old dudes or a bunch of I'm not going to say has-beens, but a bunch of people on their legacy who are trying to make money and just cash checks and don't really want to put in as much effort as they should. You've got 50-year-old men at the top of the card, which is not what AEW was in the beginning. AEW was an extension of Black and Gold NXT, which is everything that was opposite of what main roster television was under Vince McMahon. It was run by Triple H, who by no accident is now in charge of the main roster in WWE. So AEW with this pay-per-view coming up, yeah, there's gonna be some cool matches on the show. Like yeah, MJF Hangman will be great. Moxley Cope will be fine. Osprey Fletcher in a cage should be great. Okada and Brody King, I guess. Like, yeah, people are saying there's great matches, and like, but I see all these AEW fanboys saying, yeah, there's great stories here. No, there's not. No, there's not. I mean, there's not. I mean, Ricochet and Swerve, I give them credit, have made it there, but Swerve has been dominating in terms of like Ricochet's character. I think can only go so far before it gets to the point of go away, which I think it's almost at. But Ricochet's doing a good enough job to kind of keep it together. But yeah, like the Moxley Cope thing, I could tell you what's going to happen on Sunday. Jay White's going to turn on Adam Copeland and cost him the championship. I've seen this movie before. Will Ospreay gets destroyed 4 or 5 days before a pay-per-view. Of course, Will Ospreay's going to win. Fletcher should win, but in the playbook of everything, like everything's formulaic. Everything is predictable. What did we hate so much about old main roster WWE? It was very predictable. No risks taken. Nothing like that was, and some people say, yeah, the Death Riders was a risk. Guys, the Death Riders didn't work. Okay. Death Riders didn't work. This John Cena heel turn is already working because it's getting national news. And I mean, it's just, to me, like, if you're an AEW fan, you're obviously still there. You're kind of out on an island because you're a diehard and you've supported this company because they were something for you when WWE was failing for you. And WWE was just at a point of no return where you can't forgive them. Or there are some people who are still mad at WWE because of their involvement in some of these, like, allegations and enabling Vince McMahon. Like, guys, let's let the courts deal with this. If you're entertained, but it's just like my point here is the reasons that a lot of people went away from WWE is because it was predictable. And AEW, you just didn't know who was going to show up. Now that we're 5-6 years into this thing, AEW's run out of bullets. They've run out of like darts to throw at the bullseye to like say, hey, this is going to change anything. There was rumors about Shane McMahon going there. Shane McMahon wanted control of something. But I'll be honest with you, that would be infinitely more interesting than whatever this company has done. They've tried 2 takeover angles. The Elite one didn't work. They went to the Death Riders. It was worse. And that's your top angle. Your women's storyline is your women's division is, outside of the top people, not very good, which, WWE's women's division, at least on the main roster, isn't that great. They've got top women, but they've been able to expand it a little bit. And the NXT division is just, laps like any professional wrestling division in the world, in my opinion. But yeah, everything that we hated about Vince McMahon in 2018 or 2017, 2018, 2019, and even before COVID in 2020, everything that we hated about that WWE is exactly what AEW has become. It's just AEW has better matches. AEW is more about the wrestling. And wrestling can only carry you so far. Because especially when it comes to North America, we care about characters. And one thing that I have been really reinforced over the last handful of years is the importance of storytelling and the importance of, making things matter. Not just doing a bunch of cool moves in a match and telling a story. Like, it's great that you could tell a story in a match, but how you get there and putting emotion into it, that's what makes a great, just great pro wrestling. It's about characters. It's not about like how you tell something in a match. And so when I see Tony Khan book 2 multi-man tag matches, where it features participants on the pay-per-view, I just think that's lazy. You're just using a match as a vehicle to get to the next destination. And to me, that's lazy. I mean, that's like, the equivalent of Vince McMahon near the end doing championship contenders matches so he could determine his challengers and having his champions wrestle. You don't need to have your champions wrestle all the time. You could have them wrestle. Like, here's another example here for you. Gunther, the last 2 weeks, wrestled Tozawa and Otis of the Alpha Academy. And you may be saying, Mike, they're goofs. Still, they were presented in a way that fit the story that they are telling about Jey Uso being a clown. And, Otis and Tozawa are jokesters too, and they're not being taken seriously. And it was a decent, I guess you could say extended squash, but it showcased Gunther. It advanced the story. That's a way to utilize your wrestlers who are champions, get them on television to advance a story, not just throw them into a random match like Hangman Adam Page against Aaron Solo and end it in 30 seconds, or Jay White against Max Caster, even if that kind of advanced the best wrestler alive storyline, which isn't really a storyline. It's just to geek Max Caster out. But the point, again, like I said, it's just when you watch main roster WWE now, it is unpredictable. It is cool. It is edgy. It takes risks. I told you 3 things that nobody had on their bingo card to start 2025 have happened in the last 6 weeks. You had John Cena turning heel, Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble, and Io Sky beating Rhea Ripley 6 weeks before WrestleMania. Nobody had that at all. You don't get any of those results in AEW anymore. You don't. Everything is very predictable. What was the biggest moment from last year? Bryan Danielson winning the world championship. Everybody knew that was going to happen. Everybody knew that was going to happen. And it's okay for stuff to be predictable, but you got to keep your fans on the edge of their seats. And like you go from week to week with this Death Rider storyline just dragging the show down. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody. So what I caution people to say is when you're coming at me and telling me that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, like, it's great that you love good professional wrestling. I'm just telling it to you from my perspective, and I've been able to evaluate this like really extensively in the last couple of years, really since some turning points over there in AEW with the fights and everything, and just seeing how that place is managed. And then you go to WWE immediately since Triple H took over. You've seen his fingerprints. It hasn't been perfect, but it's been unpredictable. It's been cool. It's been edgy. It's been exciting for the most part, and very rarely dull. So, and that's the other thing. AEW's just got boring. It's the same shit every single week. Just a bunch of matches, the same storylines, not a lot of characters that you really care about. And, it's just not good television. So I hope they fix it. They'll probably have a good pay-per-view on Sunday. I'm not doubting it. I don't know how it's going to end. If Adam Copeland is going to be in the main event, but I know Jay White's probably going to turn on him. I would like to see the women get some shine because that feud between Toni Storm and Mariah May has been one of the best things they've done in the last 6 to 9 months. But yeah, that's really my overriding thoughts on this. We'll have more off the top rope stuff. I got some other interesting takes. Usually my Thursday are my post Fallout AEW takes. So brace yourselves, everybody. We'll have a lot of fun here. Thanks for watching. Thanks to almost 600 subscribing to the channel. The Twitter handles are up in the left-hand corner. Hit the subscribe button below. Give us a like, share us. We love all the engagement that we get over here at the Optimized Sports Network. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.